Hello, my friends. Today, intensified shelling continues from Russian territory in the Chernihiv, Sumy and Kharkiv regions. Occupies also continue to shell Kharkiv. And as a result, forced evacuation of families with children has begun from 18 settlements in the Kupiansk district. At the time of creating this video, there is no information about new shelling or advancing actions on Russian territory, but there have been joint statements from the Russian Volunteer Corps, the Legion Freedom of Russia, and the Siberian Battalion to Putin.
Владимир Путин. Весь мир уже несколько дней наблюдает, как русский город Белгород, Белгородская и Курская области превратились в зону активных боевых действий. В то же время поставленная тобой администрация, несмотря на неоднократные наши призывы, препятствует эвакуации гражданского населения. В связи с этим, исключительно из-за твоих амбиций, продолжают страдать и гибнуть мирные люди. Мы призываем тебя прекратить этот цирк, подумать о судьбах ни в чем не повинных россиян и разрешить эвакуацию гражданских из зоны боевых действий. Твои выборы давно превратились в полный фарс. Прекрати загонять простых людей для участия в твоем спектакле на избирательные участки под бомбы и артиллерийские снаряды. Даже принудительное волеизъявление невозможно, когда звучат сигналы воздушной тревоги. Ты давно утратил свою легитимность, а в нынешних обстоятельствах исчезла даже и видимость избирательного процесса. Всем очевидно, что России необходимы немедленные и коренные изменения. В России давно назрела необходимость глубокой трансформации отношений власти и народа, откровенного разговора о новых и справедливых отношениях. Если ты готов обсуждать будущее нашей страны без диктатуры и авторитаризма, мы со своей стороны готовы к такому разговору. Если у тебя сохранилось мужество и ответственность, выходи с нами на связь любым удобным для тебя способом.
So we learn about the next steps in the nearest future, I think. But it would be quite amusing if, once again, Lukashenko assumes the role of a peacemaker, as he did during the invasion of Moscow by Prigozhin. And today, Budanov commented on the events happening at the border for the first time.
Вони були в багатьох гарячих точках, як це прийнято зараз називати в Україні. Ну, ми спробуємо допомогти їм в міру наших можливостей. По-перше, повністю з вами погоджуюсь, що ця історія про те, як росіяни вирішують своє внутрішньодержавне питання. Да, нам можуть більше подобатись одні, менше подобатись інші, але все ж таки і одні росіяни, і інші росіяни.
Щодо їхніх планів, чи є, бодай, якась інформація, я не знаю, чи ви змогли би її озвучити, але наявність такої інформації у вас?
Ну, наскільки нам відомо, вони не збираються закінчувати найближчим часом і будуть робити все, на що їм вистачить сил. А як ми бачимо за останній час, сили у них достатньо є для того, щоб, ну, скажімо так, як мінімум досягти обмежень. Що буде далі, побачимо з часом.
Now, let's move on to the situation along the front line, starting with the Kupiansk direction. Here, shelling continues along the entire front line, with offensive actions have ceased. So they didn't achieve any success in the areas of Sinkivka and Tabaivka yesterday, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Svatove area, the occupiers shelled Novoyegorivka and Berestova, but no offensive actions have been reported as before, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kremina direction, the occupiers have also ceased all attacks, and shelling all the villages of Terny, Yampolivka and Torsky is reported. So all their previous attacks have been unsuccessful, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, fighting continues near Bilogorivka. Although the Russian activity here is not the highest, they managed to conduct one attack per day. However, it ended unsuccessfully. Shelling continues as usual, and there are no changes along the front line. In the Bakhmut direction, the occupiers conducted 4 attacks today in the areas of Ivanivska and Klishchiivka. So they attempted to advance further, but to no avail. The Ukrainian Armed Forces repelled all attacks, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Avdiivka direction, the situation is complex. So the occupiers launched 10 attacks in the areas of Berdachi and Tonenka. However, they haven't been able to capture these populated areas, so the front line remains unchanged, with a significant amount of shelling continuing. Further south, battles are ongoing in the areas of Peromaiske and Nevelske. So it's evident that all statements by the Russians claiming to have captured Nevelske haven't been confirmed. The Ukrainian Armed Forces continue to repel attacks by the Russians in this area. In the direction of Mariinka, the occupiers conducted 19 attacks in the areas of Krasnohorivka, Georgiivka, and Novomikhailivka. So the offensive actions continue almost without interruption. However, the Ukrainian Armed Forces still manage to hold their defense, and the front line remains unchanged for the day. But shelling continues in large quantities. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers didn't achieve success in the area of Staromayorsk, and today only shelling along the front line is reported. In the Zaporizhia direction, the Russians conducted 4 attacks near Robotyne and Verbove. So they didn't achieve success, and the situation remains unchanged. Shelling continues as before, but the Ukrainian Armed Forces maintain their defense and don't retreat. In the Kherson direction, shelling of the right bank continues, and in the area of the village of Kryinki, the Russians conducted 2 attacks. However, the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully repelled them, and the front line remains unchanged. So it was also announced today that the assistance promised by the United States in 2022 has only started arriving in Ukraine in 2024.
The Ukrainian military showed a video of the American M1117 armored wheeled vehicle. This is the first time that these vehicles have been seen in the armed forces of Ukraine. The army received these armored vehicles as part of international military aid. It will be recalled that the United States announced the transfer of 250 M1117 armored personnel carriers to Ukraine back in November 2022. Since then, the equipment has been prepared for transfer. The wheeled armored vehicles were to be re-equipped at USA expense and then transferred to Ukraine under the Excess Defense Articles program. In September last year, it was reported that it would take another 18 months to re-equip the 250 American M1117 armored vehicles promised to Ukraine. However, given the urgent need to support the armed forces of Ukraine with armored vehicles, U.S. officials were instructed to work on the possibility of accelerating the delivery of the M1117.
Unfortunately, that's the reality. Also, today, according to preliminary estimates, foreign analysts report that Ukraine may run out of missiles by the end of this month.
Ukraine is running so low on ammunition that it will run out of air defense missiles to defend its cities by the end of the month, according to reports. Supplies of missiles defending cities such as Odessa, where 20 people were killed on Friday, are dwindling fast, according to Ukrainian sources quoted by the Washington Post. That means that instead of trying to shoot down 4 out of 5 Russian missiles as it does now, Ukraine will soon have to ration its air defense systems to shooting down just 1 in 5. This will have a significant effect on Ukraine's urban centers. The Washington Post quoted 2 Ukrainian officials as telling U.S. officials at a security conference this year. Politicians in the U.S. are locked in a fierce debate on whether to maintain military aid to Ukraine, which currently stands at around £31.3 billion. This week Viktor Orban, Hungary's prime minister, said that Donald Trump, the presumed Republican candidate at this year's U.S. presidential election had told him that he would not give any more cash to Ukraine.
Meanwhile, in Russia, elections are ongoing. As you all understand, without a doubt, Putin will emerge victorious in them. And it's reported that a document has already surfaced indicating that after the elections, Russians will initiate a new wave of mobilizations, but not within the Russia, rather in the occupied territories.
Orcs mobilized 300,000. After the elections, the occupiers plan to mobilize up to 300,000. Citizens of Ukraine in the temporarily occupied territories, State Border Guard Service. In confirmation of the Russians' plans, the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine published a document handed over by one of the Ukrainian Special Services.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.